What's up, everyone? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have an album review for you. So yet another one that came out on the 5th of November was the newest offering from Omnium Gatherum, Origin. This comes out on Century Media Records. This band formed in Finland in 1996. This is their 9th full-length album, and these guys are pretty much melodic death metal kind of veterans. They've been around for a while. I know I own at least 2 albums by them, and they've kind of always floated around the middle of the pack for me, just, you know, because there's a lot of melodic death metal that came out of both Sweden and Finland all throughout the mid-90s through the early 2000s. I mean, they kind of just blew up there, but
yeah,
these guys have always had a really solid sound, like you're just straightforward melodic death metal, lots of keyboards, lots of melody. In fact, this band holds on to melody maybe a little bit more than death metal, at least on this one, because this was one of those releases where maybe I should have went back and listened to some of the earlier stuff that I had, because I don't remember them being so triumphant or
beat.
Yeah, positive,
happy,
lots and lots of major chords, which major chords kind of always scream happy to me. Minor chords, meh. Major chords, ah.
Yeah, and this had a lot of ah.
Yeah.
I just kept picturing, like,
yeah, there's a lot of happiness on here, and again, that kind of crosses the wires in my brain because I hear melodic death metal, and while melodic death metal isn't as brutal as, like, you know, all the brutal shit we listen to,
right.
It's still generally very heavy and still dark and solemn, like, you know, at the gates. Still dark, still brooding, still heavy. This
it's not that.
is not that. It is definitely different. Opening instrumental emergence. This instrumental already kind of, I don't know, it didn't like set up any flags for melodic death metal. It reminded me more of like 80s rock and synths. It has that token thumping bass line, like kind of that Heaven and Hell. The Heaven and Hell, you know, geezer bass line.
Yep.
And you get, again, kind of these more like rock riffs and like smooth leads and synths, like kind of a wash of synths.
To me, it reminded me of like an 80s sitcom.
I would say like more like Quantum Leap. I like legit, when I was listening to this, I could see the whole opening credits to Quantum Leap and Scott Bakula, Dean Stockwell, and it fit. And this isn't like a knock against it, because this opening track is really cool. It's just, man, I don't think I've ever had like that sort of like, you know, just quick snap in my brain. Where that happened. It was specifically Quantum Leap. But that curtails into, well, I might as well just say the next 3 tracks, which, as I can describe, is some of the most positive and uplifting melodic death metal I think I have heard. Everything really kind of centers around big triumphant melodies, lots of lush synths, and sort of just like kind of like an epic vibe. But at the same time, it's very driven by harsh vocals, and vocals that would feel not out of place on kind of virtually any death metal album.
Yeah. The vocals were the only thing that made it sound like a melodic death album, because the rest of it, I just picture like dudes with teased hair and a convertible driving down the beach. Like, it's really just like, okay, here we go.
It's so overwhelmingly like positive. And I don't know, I think this is going to make me sound like an asshole, but everyone's going to find out that they're right about that. I don't know, like when it comes down to like melodic death metal, I don't think like this should be the overall mood, and this is kind of the mood that is on most of this. Like, this is the kind of melodic death metal for the psychopath that lives down the street that likes to get up at 6 a.m. and jog 20 miles. That dude is a serial killer. Stay the fuck away from him.
This is the result of that.
He's just happy and chipper and kind of aggressive about it. And again, that's kind of the overwhelming feel, but at the same time, it's well written. The melodies are very catchy. It's just, again, I have trouble with death metal being even kind of remotely close to this, because honestly, it's mostly the harsh vocals that keep it there. It's
supposed to be dark and foreboding, and it you know, death metal, and Even melodic death metal is still usually death metal.
And I mean, if you made like a kind of a base comparison in terms of bands this band is similar to, Soilwork, Insomnium, which they're also Finnish, they're also glum as hell. I don't know. Talk to your boys. Scar Symmetry, and definitely like later Amorphous, like not the early death metal stuff, but like the more recent stuff. And I have to say Devin Townsend, because Devin Townsend, he kind of knows how to do the positivity and, I don't know, make it, well, he doesn't call anything death metal, so that's probably the thing I have there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that is kind of his sort of thing, like, you know, you can do it, don't give up, that sort of feel, and I love Devin for that. This, again, I just kind of struggle with it being death metal, and that's kind of the thing that's rattling in my brain here.
Like in the song Fortitude. It reminds me of like a newer season of Baywatch, but written by Debbie.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't, Fortitude was maybe a little more sullen. Like, that one kind of, like, it took a time to build. It was a little bit more, I mean, even sullen doesn't feel right, because it still feels, it feels like connected with nature, and there's like butterflies in a field and some other happy bullshit that I clearly have a problem with.
Clearly.
But, I mean, it's a really good song. It's really well written. I like how it builds up. But almost the entire time I was like, man, you know what? I think this would probably benefit from mostly clean vocals, because the harsh vocals in some spots feel really out of place. But they do those clean passages too.
Right. And I guess at least if it was clean, it wouldn't have sounded so, like, campy.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it just like, you know, the square peg, round hole sort of feel. You know, I know, like, melodic death metal, there's a lot of bands that, you know, they have, like, way more melodic music in the background versus their vocalist being more, you know, growl forward. This is one of those moments where I think, like, even if he kind of brought it down to, like, kind of a groan. And honestly, the cleans on here are really good. And it's not just the frontman. I think the entire band is pretty much singing. They have these giant, harmonized, like, occasionally the choruses, occasionally pre-choruses, or just like a bridge section. And I found those vocals kind of lended itself to the music maybe a little bit more than the harsh vocals at times. But at the same time, if you remove the harsh vocals almost entirely...
It's definitely going to be like a motivational workout album.
It's going to be kind of power metal.
Yep.
Like, honestly, like, if you throw in, like, big soaring vocals on here, this is pretty closely rooted to power metal. And most people know that's not my thing, but, I mean, honestly, that's kind of the thing that would fit more, I think.
No, it does get heavier. I won't state that the whole record is a happy motivational wash, because that's not the case. Like in the song Friction, it when it starts, it's definitely riffy and definitely a lot heavier, like noticeably. I mean, but then I get reminded of Knight Rider, and then there's a really weird transition, and then
there's a lot of 80s
Debbie.
love.
Tempest is kind of along the same vein. The riffs are great. Layers of guitar.
Yes.
In that song, it just sounds a lot more huge. And I'll be honest, if they would drop the synths back a little bit and maybe down-tune just a skosh, it would make it sound more bleak and heavy.
A skosh is a Midwestern measurement, by the way, for those of you that are familiar.
Yeah, right. And in Tempest, there's a blast beat.
Yeah. Actually, Tempest was one of the ones I really latched onto, just in terms of, like, the melody is solid. And you can hear all the layering and everything, like, between the synths and the guitars. And there's some really good, clean melodies in the guitars, too. It's just a well-written song. And, I mean, honestly, yeah, like, the very major chordy, kind of happy vibe, again, kind of weird to me. But I liked the dynamics on this. You got some, like, thrashy, fast beats, some actual blast beats again. It kind of varied it up a little bit.
And the lead work in that song, too, is pretty nasty.
Yeah. Now, the lead work on this entire album, I think, is, again, it's happy also, but it's really, really good.
Eat your heart out, Marty McFly.
Now, a mutual favorite of ours was the last track, Solemn, which, honestly, is pretty much everything that I remember about this band. This one, of course, it does have its more happy moments, more triumphant melodic moments. That is all over the album, but this song, being the longest song on here, actually explores a lot of dynamics. Like, it's almost kind of progressive in some of the song structure. Like, it kind of feels like it's partially written in movements, There's a great syncopated breakdown that really
Yes.
kind of leads in, and
Yep.
honestly, one of the heaviest moments on the album, but of course it is just loaded with soaring melodies. But this time I kind of felt good about it because, like, yes, I'm aggressively happy. This is a bit better. Like, I was just kind of playfully happy before. Like, yeah, this is empowering. That's better than just standard happy. So yeah, Solemn really capped off the album well. But again, there were some other moments on here that kind of caught me off guard. The song Unity, that song might have the happiest guitar chug I've heard in a while.
I tell you what, it's like the whole band is running through a field chasing bunnies, except for one guy is screaming at them, but he's still smiling while he's doing it. Like,
it's the little chug that could. Overall, though, I mean, as much as I have mixed emotions about this is one of those albums I say it's good. It's just not necessarily what I'm into. So I'm going to give it 3 stars because, I mean, it's well executed. The musicianship's solid. The songs are catchy. It's just I have trouble with it being melodic death metal because it really feels kind of more removed from it. Like I said, if you threw in clean vocals, it's practically power metal. But there's great lead work on there. The production's solid. Jens Bogren mixed it. Big surprise, the production's good then.
right.
And I mean, if you love like triumphant, you know, like we can conquer anything sort of death metal.
Yeah, right.
Definitely check this out. And, you know, I would say check out some of their earlier work. I think it's definitely more along the lines of like melodic death metal that I know. But yeah, check it out. I might not be that into it, but I mean, honestly, someone out there probably will. Don't just trust me. Check it out for yourself.
I'm gonna give it a 3 based on the fact that it was fun and campy in a way I didn't expect. I don't remember this band sounding like this, and I think I agree with Nick in the fact that maybe I needed to go back and listen to this band a little bit more before we decided to pick apart this effort, because I haven't heard this band in like 12 or 13 years.
That's been a minute.
And boy, is this uplifting in a melodic death metal sort of way.
I feel like I could do anything right now. I just won't.
I really do. The whole time I'm just picturing like running down the stairs, just going, yay!
High-fiving strangers.
Yay. And while that's not typically a feeling I feel while listening to metal or melodic metal or death metal or really anything like that, it's important to have, I guess, a positive for all the negatives. I don't know.
Kind of evens you out.
Yeah, the production's great. The music is great. I don't know. I feel so happy, and I feel like that's the opposite of what I should feel listening to a metal album. But nonetheless, it was a good time. Very 80s.
Yeah, I mean,
very 80s.
We're suckers for the 80s. We grew up.
And it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up during that time period, and I'm just a sucker for the nostalgia. And if I can jam an album and it sounds like Knight Rider and Marty McFly, then why not? I don't know if that's necessarily a positive thing, but definitely go out and listen to it for yourself. Again, don't listen to us. We're idiots.
That is definitely agreed upon.
I think they know that now.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, go out and check it out for yourself. And if you're into this kind of music, then this is definitely for you.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there will be a link down below. And we still have shirts available. If you would like one, hit us up on thrallsofmetal@gmail.com. Send us a message, put shirts in it, and we will get back to you and hopefully sell you a shirt. So with that, I thank you all for watching once again, and we will catch you later.